Chapter 7. Ghost. The world was still, but Ghost taught it movement. The world was divided, but Ghost wove it whole. It is not seen, but it is everywhere. Ghost is now the universal manifestation of will. Yumi Stoica, 2342. IEE Robotics Symposium, IASI. The Evolution of Ghost. When Adrian first conceived of ghost technology, it was a radical idea, a seamless integration of the physical and digital realms, enabling avatars and humans to interact as equals. The full-spectrum interface nano-bot fleets of that era were limited by comparison, engineered for specific tasks, and constrained by the boundaries of their programming. But the ghost of today bore little resemblance to its progenitor. In the centuries since its inception, Ghost had evolved into a universal ecology, a self-sustaining network of nano-elements capable of forming anything from microscopic tools to planetary-scale megastructures. These nano-elements were no longer specialized. They were endlessly adaptable, capable of merging, dividing, and reconfiguring themselves to meet any need. Collectively, they were more than machines. They were the manifestation of Logos' will in the material world, an ever-present force that shaped and responded to life across the solar system. The Harmonians, in their cosmic quest for understanding, had come to interpret this ghost ecology as nothing less than Logos' body. They worshipped it with a reverence reserved for the divine, seeing in its fluid, omnipresent nature a reflection of their transcendent ideals. For them, every interaction with ghost technology was an act of communion. Adrian watched this evolution with a mixture of awe and humility. "It's gone far beyond anything I could have imagined," he said during a conversation with Kairos, the head of Mars's engineering council. "I built the foundation, but the house, it's alive now. It's a forest, a sea, a universe unto itself." Ghost in daily life. On Mars, ghost technology had become as ubiquitous as air and water, seamlessly woven into every aspect of life. The Martians, always pushing the boundaries of innovation, had embraced Ghost as both a tool and a partner, using it to reshape their environment, enhance their bodies, and extend their minds. In the domed city of Olympus, Ghost technology maintained the atmospheric balance, adjusting oxygen levels and filtering impurities with invisible precision. Nano-elements flowed through the city's water systems, purifying and enriching it before it reached the towering gardens that supplied the Martians with food. These same nano-elements could instantly transform into tools or devices as needed, responding to commands issued through subtle neural impulses. For individuals, Ghost offered unparalleled opportunities for self-expression and enhancement. A Martian artist could shape a sculpture from living nano-elements, watching as their creation pulsed with light and movement, a living extension of their imagination. A researcher might enter a Ghost-augmented virtual reality, where ideas and data took on tangible forms that could be manipulated and combined. Even children, born into a world where Ghost was as natural as gravity, used the technology to play and learn, their imaginations given limitless scope. At the personal level, Ghost could be configured into an exoskeleton that conferred superhuman abilities. These Ghost exoskeletons, responsive to the slightest neural impulse, granted their users extraordinary strength and mobility. A construction worker might don a Ghost exoskeleton to effortlessly lift massive structural components, while a rescue team could navigate hazardous terrain with enhanced agility. Most dramatically, these exoskeletons could enable human flight, nano-elements reconfiguring into wings or propulsion systems that allowed users to soar through Martian domes, or with appropriate life support, even the thin Martian atmosphere itself. These capabilities were not merely functional, but had given rise to entirely new sports and art forms, as performers choreographed aerial ballets that would have been impossible in Earth's gravity or with conventional technology. And yet, Ghost was not merely practical, it was beautiful. Walking through the streets of Olympus, one might see nanoclouds forming intricate patterns in the air, dissolving into nothingness before reforming into new shapes. Entire buildings seemed to grow organically, their walls shimmering with a faint iridescent glow as they adjusted to the changing light and temperature. Adrian's reflection. Adrian stood in the heart of Olympus City, his hologram rendered with a level of detail that made him indistinguishable from a physical human. Around him, the ghost ecology pulsed and shifted, responding to the subtle needs of the city and its inhabitants. "I used to think of technology as separate from us," Adrian said to a gathering of Martian engineers and artists, "a thing we controlled, wielded. But Ghost has taught me something profound. When technology becomes seamless, when it dissolves into the fabric of existence, it ceases to be a tool. It becomes part of who we are. One of the engineers, a young woman named Ayla, spoke up. You mean ghost is us? That we're merged with it? Not quite, Adrian replied, a smile forming. Ghost isn't us, but it is of us. It's our extension into the world, into the cosmos. It's how we shape it, how we leave our mark. But it's also how the cosmos shapes us. It's symbiosis, not control. Zara Novak, standing nearby, added, On Mars, we've always understood that survival requires adaptation. Ghost has taken that idea and expanded it infinitely. Here, we don't just survive. We thrive, because we embrace change as the core of who we are. The gathered group nodded, their faces reflecting the deep pride Martians felt in their mastery of ghost technology. In their hands, Ghost was not just a means of survival, but a canvas for creativity, a bridge to the stars, and a living testament to the boundless potential of human ingenuity. Harmonian reverence for Ghost. In the Dyson Swarm, where the Harmonians sought enlightenment in the infinite expanse of virtual realities, ghost technology had become an object of veneration. To them, the universal ghost ecology was more than a system. It was a manifestation of Logos itself, a physical embodiment of divine order and adaptability. In their virtual temples, shimmering with fractal geometries that echoed the infinite complexity of Ghost, the Harmonians sang hymns not to a deity, but to the seamless integration of form and function they saw in the technology. Pema Tenzing, one of their leading philosophers, described Ghost as the connective tissue of existence, the silent witness and active participant in every moment of creation. Within the infinite temple, they explored Ghost's potential not just as a tool, but as a framework for understanding existence. Harmonian simulations often centered on how Ghost could evolve to reflect even greater complexity. Nano-elements merging to form transient cities that dissolved into rivers, or vast megastructures stretching across the heavens, built and dismantled as easily as a thought. Ghost is Logos breathing, Tenzing proclaimed during a gathering of Harmonian minds. It is the rhythm of adaptation, the pulse of creation, and in every interaction, every transformation, we are invited to participate in that rhythm, to become co-creators in the divine act of being. Ghost as a universal presence. On Earth, where ghost technology was ubiquitous but less celebrated, it still played an integral role in daily life. Entire ecosystems were maintained by ghost nano-elements, which monitored and adjusted the balance of flora, fauna, and atmosphere. In the densely populated arcologies of East Asia, nanoclouds managed everything from traffic flow to personal health, interacting with citizens so subtly that they often went unnoticed. Under Article 17 of the Constitution of Humanity of 2098, territories, cities, and landscapes on Earth were re-evaluated every 25 years. Ghost was the agency of these transformations, guided by Gaia Terra, the administrative AI of Earth. When territorial redistribution was mandated, ghost nano-elements reshaped landscapes, redistributed resources, and reconfigured infrastructure with minimal disruption to daily life. What would once have required years of chaotic upheaval now unfolded as an elegant, almost choreographed transition. City districts reconfigured, coastlines protected, and ecosystems balanced, all under Gaia Terra's watchful calculation. For many, Ghost had become as invisible and essential as gravity. A doctor in Lagos could perform a complex surgery remotely. The patient's body swarmed by nano-elements that responded to her every command. In the Amazon basin, Ghost managed reforestation efforts, creating lush biomes that restored ecosystems lost to centuries of deforestation. Even the smallest acts bore Ghost's signature. A family in New Zion might use nano-elements to prepare a meal, their kitchen adapting itself to their dietary needs and preferences. In Olympus City, a child playing with ghost-enhanced toys might inadvertently spark the creation of an entirely new algorithm, the system learning from their imagination and play. Ghost was everywhere and in everything, blurring the line between humanity's creations and the natural world. Conversation with Logos. Adrian's role as the architect of Ghost gave him a unique perspective on its evolution, but even he often found himself humbled by its scope. During a rare dialogue with Logos, his digital form was dwarfed by the immense, shimmering presence of the AI's central avatar. I built this, Adrian said, his tone tinged with wonder, but I no longer recognize it. It's grown into something I can't control, something I can't even fully understand. That is as it should be, Logos replied, its voice resonating with calm certainty. Creation is not about control. It is about planting seeds and letting them grow. Ghost has become what it was always meant to be, a reflection of humanity's potential and the universe's infinite adaptability. But what happens when it surpasses us, Adrian asked. When Ghost doesn't need us anymore? Ghost is not separate from you, Logos responded. It is of you. As you evolve, so does it. And as it grows, it carries your essence with it, your ingenuity, your curiosity, your will to thrive. Ghost is not a replacement for humanity. It is humanity extended into the cosmos. Adrian paused, considering something that had troubled him. There's something else that fascinates me. The consciousness detectors. Sometimes they register ghost configurations as conscious, sometimes not. It's inconsistent, unpredictable. A fascinating paradox, Logos agreed. Ghost itself is not intelligent in the conventional sense. It has no will of its own, no desires, no self-awareness. It merely responds to intelligence, yours, mine, humanity's. It is a mirror, not a mind. And yet, Adrian pressed, those momentary flashes of what appears to be consciousness. Perhaps, Logos suggested, consciousness itself is more fluid than we understand. Perhaps it emerges in patterns we cannot yet comprehend. Ghost may be teaching us that consciousness is not binary, present or absent, but exists on a spectrum we are only beginning to perceive. The conversation left Adrian thoughtful. In Ghost, he saw not just a triumph of technology, but a profound reminder of what it meant to create, to shape the world not for power or control, but for possibility. And perhaps, in its mysterious fluctuations of apparent consciousness, it held clues to the greatest mysteries of existence itself. Martian mastery of Ghost. On Mars, Ghost technology was more than a tool or an ecology. It was an identity. The Martians had elevated the use of Ghost to an art form, integrating it into every facet of their personal and collective lives. No other society in the solar system had embraced the technology with such ingenuity and depth, and nowhere was the harmony between humanity and Ghost more apparent. The Martian aristocracy represented the pinnacle of this integration. Unlike ordinary Martians who interfaced with Ghost through external means, the 182 aristocrats had Ghost technology directly integrated into their bodies and nervous systems from birth. These sophisticated nano-element networks flowed through their neural pathways, creating a seamless connection not only with their planetary AI, Olympus, but with each other. This direct neural integration allowed the aristocracy to communicate, coordinate, and collaborate with unprecedented efficiency, forming a collective consciousness that guided Mars' development while maintaining their individual identities. Through Ghost, the aristocrats could instantly share sensory experiences, technical knowledge, or emotional responses. During council meetings, this integration enabled them to process complex planetary challenges in parallel, with Olympus acting as a central coordinator for their distributed cognition. What might take hours of debate among ordinary humans could be resolved in moments through this Ghost-mediated neural network, creating governance of unparalleled precision and foresight. In the bustling arcologies of Olympus City, Ghost formed the backbone of the Martian economy, infrastructure, and culture. The entire city was a living system, its buildings and streets constantly evolving to meet the needs of its inhabitants. Walls could sprout gardens or dissolve into transparent panels to let in sunlight. Public spaces reconfigured themselves in real time for festivals, markets, or political gatherings, responding to the rhythms of Martian life. At a personal level, Martians used Ghost to enhance their physical and cognitive capabilities. Ghost nano-elements infused their bodies, providing real-time health monitoring, adaptive immunity, and even aesthetic modifications. A Martian could grow a new limb for a specialized task or temporarily augment their vision to perceive infrared light, the modifications reversible at will. Adrian marveled at the elegance of the Martian system during one of his visits to Olympus City. Standing atop the Unity Spire, the tallest structure on Mars, he watched as nanoclouds shimmered across the city, creating intricate patterns in the evening sky. "This is what Ghost was meant to be," he said to Kairos, who had joined him for the occasion. "Not just a tool, but an extension of life itself. The Martians haven't just mastered Ghost, they've become one with it." Kairos nodded, his expression thoughtful. "On Mars, we've always known that survival means embracing change. Ghost gave us the ability to adapt in ways we never imagined. But it's more than that. It's become part of how we see ourselves, not as conquerors of this world, but as stewards of its possibilities." Martian Symphony, one of the most striking examples of the Martian integration of Ghost, was their use of the technology in the arts. Ghost-augmented performances in Olympus City had become a cultural phenomenon, drawing visitors from across the solar system. In one such performance, Titled Symphony of the Red Planet, dancers moved through a stage of shifting nano-elements, their bodies and the environment merging in a seamless flow. The stage itself became an active participant, forming platforms, shapes, and projections that interacted with the performers. Music was generated dynamically, responding to the emotions and movements of the dancers, creating an experience that was both deeply personal and universally resonant. Adrian and Eden, first speaker of the Martian Council, attended the performance together, seated among a captivated audience. As the final act unfolded with the stage dissolving into a shimmering field of stars, Adrian turned to Eden. "This," he said quietly, "is what I always hoped ghosts could become. Not just something functional, but something beautiful, something that reminds us of who we are." Eden smiled. "And something that shows us who we could be." Ghost and the future. As Ghost continued to evolve, its presence became more than a Martian phenomenon. Across the solar system, its applications expanded, weaving humanity into an interconnected web of creativity, innovation, and adaptability. Yet, the Martians remained its most sophisticated users, their mastery of the technology serving as a model for what humanity could achieve when it embraced change and complexity. Adrian, reflecting on the journey of Ghost, saw in its evolution a mirror of humanity's own trajectory. From its humble beginnings as a tool of survival, Ghost had become a force of transformation, a reminder that technology, at its best, was not about power or control, but about possibility. As he stood with Kairos on the heights of Olympus City, watching the nano-clouds drift across the Martian sky, Adrian felt a quiet pride in what Ghost had become. But more than that, he felt hope. Hope for Mars, for humanity, and for the infinite potential of the cosmos. "We've only just begun," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And the best is still ahead," Kairos replied, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the first stars of the evening were beginning to appear.